The Okonkwo family was known in Enugu for their wealth, their grace, and their perfect image. But behind the tall gates of their grand compound, perfection was just an illusion carefully crafted by Mr. and Mrs. Okonkwo and their eldest daughter, Amarachi. To everyone else, Amarachi was the pride of the family, beautiful, brilliant, and charming. She spoke with the kind of confidence that made people listen. Her mother adored her. Her father doted on her. Every achievement, no matter how small, was celebrated like a national victory. Then there was Chiamaka, the second daughter, quiet, thoughtful, often standing in the background while Amarachi shined under the spotlight. If Amarachi was the sun, Chiamaka was the moon, present, but never allowed to glow when the sun was out. Growing up, Chiamaka learned that silence was her safest companion. Whenever she tried to speak, Amarachi would interrupt. Whenever she did something good, Amarachi found a way to take credit. When Chiamaka won first position in her class at Primary 5, Amarachi laughed and said, "Of course she did. I helped her study." Their mother clapped proudly for Amarachi. That night, Chiamaka cried quietly on her pillow. Her father had come into the room and said, "Don't take things so seriously, my daughter. You know your sister is just playing." But she wasn't playing. Amarachi never was. As the years passed, the difference in how the sisters were treated became clearer. Amarachi got new clothes every term. Chiamaka wore Amarachi's old ones. When Amarachi entered university, her parents opened a savings account for her, her future business fund. Chiamaka's dream was to study fine arts, but when she mentioned it, her mother frowned. Art? How will that feed you? Amarachi is studying law. You should do something meaningful like her. Still, Chiamaka filled her university forms quietly, saving the little money she earned from drawing portraits for her neighbors. But one afternoon, while she was at home, she overheard Amarachi speaking on the phone with her mother. "Mummy, I need more money for my project. Can you use that other account? The one you were keeping for Chiamaka?" Her mother hesitated for a moment, then said softly, "Don't worry, my dear. I'll handle it." Chiamaka's heart broke that day. The other account was her college fund, her only hope. That evening, she asked her mother about it. "Mummy, did you use my savings for Amarachi?" Her mother gave her a sharp look. "Is it not all in the family? Amarachi needs it more right now. You can manage with what you have." But what she had was nothing. Chiamaka's resentment grew quietly. Each day, she watched Amarachi live the life that was supposed to be shared between them. Every family dinner turned into a celebration of Amarachi's success, her new car, her graduation, her job at a big law firm in Lagos. Whenever Chiamaka tried to speak, her father would wave his hand and say, "Let's not spoil the mood. Amarachi is talking." So she stopped talking altogether. Years later, Amarachi came home for their father's 60th birthday celebration. The whole family gathered. Uncles, aunties, cousins, even the neighbors came. The compound was filled with laughter and music. Amarachi moved like a queen, hugging everyone, flashing her perfect smile, and making toasts. Chiamaka sat at a corner, as usual, invisible. But as the evening went on, Amarachi stood up again, glass of wine in hand, and said with a laugh, "Let's toast to Daddy and Mummy for raising the only child they ever needed." The laughter around the room was loud, but not from everyone. Chiamaka's hand froze on her plate. Her heart pounded. For the first time in her life, she didn't swallow the pain. That single sentence, spoken so casually, lit a fire inside her. She stood up slowly, her chair scraping the tiled floor. The laughter faded as everyone turned to her. Her mother's smile stiffened. Amarachi's confident face shifted just slightly. Chiamaka's voice trembled, but her eyes burned. "I've been silent for too long," she began, and the entire hall went quiet. Even the music from the hired DJ faded as everyone turned toward Chiamaka Okonkwo. Her voice shook, but her resolve didn't. "Amarachi," she said, her eyes fixed on her sister, "I used to think you just wanted to shine. I didn't know you'd burn everyone else to keep the spotlight." Amarachi blinked, smiling nervously. "Ah, Chiamaka, what are you talking about? It's just a joke." "No," Chiamaka interrupted. "It's not a joke when you've spent your whole life being treated like you don't exist." Gasps echoed across the room. Aunties shifted in their seats. Mr. Okonkwo frowned, but Chiamaka continued before anyone could stop her. She took a deep breath. "Since we're all celebrating family tonight, let's talk about this family." She pointed slightly toward her parents. All my life, I've watched you praise Amarachi for everything. Every word, every step, every breath. I was always the afterthought. The one you sent away when guests came, the one who wore Amarachi's old clothes, the one who never deserved your pride. Her mother's face hardened. Chiamaka, that's enough. No, Mummy, it's not enough. Chiamaka's voice broke. You say you love us both, but you never saw me. When Amarachi failed her first law exam, you called me to pray for her. But when I won a scholarship to study fine arts, you told me to change course because art is useless. She turned toward her father. Daddy, you said you'd support me. You told me to trust you. But you gave my university fund to Amarachi because she needed a better chance. What about my chance? The guests were whispering now. Amarachi's confident smile had disappeared completely. Her father's face turned pale with shame, but he couldn't find any words. Amarachi stood up, her voice sharp. Why are you bringing all this up now? You're embarrassing us! Chiamaka's laughter came out shaky, raw, painful. Embarrassing you? I've been embarrassed all my life, Amarachi. You took everything from me. My college fund, my designs, even my friends. You made sure no one ever saw me for who I was. And you enjoyed it. Amarachi's eyes widened. That's not true. Really? Chiamaka's gaze pierced her. Remember when you told my best friend Namdi that I said terrible things about him, just so he'd stop talking to me? Remember when I made a painting that was chosen for a state exhibition and you signed your own name on it before submitting it? The crowd gasped again. Amarachi opened her mouth, but no words came out. Chiamaka's voice grew steadier. You've been building your life on my silence. But tonight, I'm done being quiet. Tears welled up in her eyes as she turned toward her parents. You raised one daughter with love and another with neglect. You taught Amarachi to believe she was better than everyone else, and you taught me that I was never enough. Her mother's voice trembled. We only wanted what's best for you girls. No, Mummy, Chiamaka whispered. You wanted what was best for Amarachi. A hush settled over the hall. No one dared move. Even the children, who had been running around moments before, stood frozen. Then, Chiamaka slowly set down her wine glass. I came here tonight to celebrate Daddy, she said softly, but maybe it's time I celebrated something else. My freedom. Without waiting for anyone's response, she turned and walked out of the hall. Outside, the night air felt heavy but clean. For the first time in years, Chiamaka felt something she hadn't felt since childhood. Peace. As she walked away from the mansion, she could still hear voices rising behind her. Amarachi shouting, her mother trying to explain, her father calling her name. But she didn't look back. She just whispered to herself, You'll hear my story now, on my own terms. The following morning, Enugu buzzed with whispers. The Okonkwo family's perfect image had shattered overnight. Guests who attended the birthday party couldn't stop talking about Chiamaka's bold confrontation. Some pitied her, some praised her, but everyone agreed on one thing. She had finally said what needed to be said. Inside the Okonkwo mansion, silence replaced laughter. The once proud parents sat apart at the dining table, unable to eat. Amarachi's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Colleagues, friends, even her boss wanted to know what really happened. Her eyes were swollen from crying. For the first time, she realized that charm and confidence couldn't fix everything. Meanwhile, Chiamaka had taken a bus back to Nsuka, where she once studied art before her dreams were crushed. She spent the first few days sitting by the quiet stream behind her small rented apartment, sketching. Each stroke of her pencil felt like therapy, every line, a piece of her heart slowly mending. She had no money, no family support, and no connections. But she had peace, and that peace was priceless. Weeks passed. One afternoon, as she was finishing a charcoal portrait of a market woman, her friend Adaobi stopped by. Chi, Adaobi said, smiling. I showed one of your drawings to a friend who runs an art gallery in Lagos. He wants to feature your work in their next exhibition. Chiamaka's eyes widened. Me? Are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. He said your style is raw and emotional. People need to see it. Tears filled Chiamaka's eyes. For years, she had been invisible. Now, for the first time, someone saw her, not as Amarachi's sister, but as Chiamaka Okonkwo, the artist. The exhibition came faster than she expected. It was small but powerful. Her paintings told her story. One showed a girl in shadows, while her sister stood under bright light. Another depicted a locked chest labeled Dreams, cracked open from the inside. And the final piece, titled Freedom's Breath, showed a woman walking away from a burning mansion, her face calm, her eyes bright. When the gallery owner asked her about it, she simply said, "It's about finding yourself when the world tells you you're nothing." The painting went viral online. People began sharing her work, her story, and her message of courage and healing. One evening, as she returned from the gallery, her phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. "Hello," she answered cautiously. A quiet voice came through. "Chiamaka, it's Daddy." She froze. He sighed deeply. "I've been wrong. Your mother and we both failed you. We didn't see what we were doing. We thought we were showing love, but we built pride instead. I don't expect forgiveness immediately, but please, can we see you?" Chiamaka's throat tightened. For years, she had begged for that one word. Sorry. Now hearing it didn't erase the pain, but it opened a small door inside her heart. "I'll think about it," she said softly, and ended the call. A week later, Amarachi herself came to the gallery. She looked different. No makeup, no confidence, just remorse. "Chi," she said quietly, "I saw your paintings. I never knew how much I hurt you. I want to be loved too. Maybe I was afraid you'd take that from me." Chiamaka studied her sister for a long moment. "You already had their love," she said. "You just never wanted to share it." Amarachi's tears fell freely. "I'm sorry." For a long while, they stood in silence. Then Chiamaka reached out and hugged her. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was the beginning of it. Months later, the Freedom series, her first solo art collection, debuted across Nigeria. It was a story of pain, family, and rebirth. Critics called it a masterpiece born from truth. At the opening ceremony, Chiamaka gave a short speech. She stood before the crowd, graceful and calm. In life, she said, some people are taught to shine while others are told to hide. But even in the dark, the moon still glows. To anyone who has ever been overlooked, forgotten, or silenced, remember, your voice is your power. Speak it, even if it shakes. The audience rose to their feet in applause. In the crowd, her parents watched with tears in their eyes, realizing that the daughter they had ignored had become everything they ever hoped for, and more. That night, as Chiamaka looked up at the stars, she whispered, "I'm finally free." This is the end of this story. The moral lesson of this story is, never allow anyone to define your worth or silence your truth. Even when the world overlooks you, your voice still matters. And when you finally speak, your courage can heal, inspire, and transform lives. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more emotional and powerful stories every week. Drop a comment below. Tell us what you learned from Chiamaka's journey. Until next time, remember, your voice is your power. Never be afraid to use it.